My goodness. Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, my name is Dambisa Dube and welcome back to all the subscribers. It feels like it has been a while, but it actually hasn't. Thank you for the consistent views, consistent likes, and obviously for sharing. And if you are new here, you don't know who I am, what this platform is for, you get a sense of the type of content I share on this platform from today's video. Please have a look at the first couple of videos to get a sense of what type of content you can expect here, and of course to know who I am and why I chose to come onto this platform. But for now, let's dive into it. So I see that people have really been enjoying these sit downs, and to be honest, I can't wait to also have somebody next to me. So hopefully I'll have some guests on. But today I'm going to be discussing all things career break. Now, before we do that, disclaimer. Career break in the context of this video means when you are in between jobs or you have deliberately resigned, left your previous role or your place of work to be able to prepare for the next season. So I'm not necessarily referring to somebody who's at home stuck and hasn't been able to find employment and therefore is on a career break. I just want to put it out there. I think that particular season needs a very different approach. It needs very different support and advice. Maybe there's some gems in this video that may resonate with somebody like that, but I just want to put it out there that this is, from my perspective, when you've made a decision to transition, to pivot, to take stock, sit still, prepare for the next chapter. And I hope that whatever I share today resonates, is helpful. And that there's something for everyone to take with. So that's the first thing I just want to get out of the way. So based on that definition, am I on a career break? I have been sitting with this and had to think about it, and it kind of feels like I am. So I am currently doing a research fellowship. I'm going to put a link in the description for those who have not seen that video about the fellowship. I think if you come from South Africa, Brazil, China, the UK, or the US, the call is still out and this opportunity might be for you, so please do check it out. But for those who are familiar with my journey, this particular research fellowship was a decision that I made because I felt I was at a place in my career after 5 years of working for a really reputable development corporation, and I was actually genuinely happy. I felt like I needed to contribute to the sector differently, and I also felt like I needed to be stretched and challenged differently, and to be able to, in my 30s, really understand my contribution. And I think when you do political work or service work, or you are driven to do work of service, that is important. It's an important reflection to sit and say, am I still contributing in the way that I'd like? And I think for the most part, a year before starting the fellowship, I wasn't sure on that anymore. And so I needed a moment to really reflect on that, and I intentionally applied for this opportunity. Now, this opportunity has stretched me, it has challenged the way that I normally work, and it is in no way feeling like I'm chilling and having a break, to be very honest. Most times it actually feels far more intense because I'm leading an entire process, I'm accountable, there's a lot at stake. Sometimes that feels incredibly weighty, but it's also what I wanted and needed. So in that sense, it doesn't necessarily feel like a break, but I would consider it some kind of career break because I have intentionally positioned myself in a way where I'm able to then pivot to the next role and also have stretched myself and learned certain skills. And so it kind of feels like it's a break between seasons. So in that way, I consider it some kind of career break. And you know what? Now that I've experienced it, I think sitting still and having this moment to work differently, to contribute differently, to be challenged and stretched is something that I'd like to do regularly. Maybe every 7 years, every 10 years. It's completely a privilege. But should finances and time allow, I definitely think I would revisit a break of sorts. So what have been the gems from this so-called career break for me? This opportunity or this career break or this season has allowed me to upskill myself. Now, I don't know what sectors you all come from, but I know that most employers do offer opportunities to their employers to upskill, to be trained. However, those opportunities are often aligned with your tasks at work for obvious reasons, and are also aligned with the vision that the company has for you, or the vision that the supervisors have for you, and the growth that they envision for you or think that is suitable for you. Sometimes that can feel restricting. You might be a receptionist, but you actually would like to do something else in the company. And so the training that you might be offered as a receptionist might feel limiting. And I definitely made use of the upskilling opportunities at my previous employer. I feel like they were all valuable, and I'm glad I did them. And they will forever be valuable for future roles to come. However, there were also other ways in which I wanted to upskill myself and to learn and to grow in, and that were maybe a little bit less conventional for my role. And this opportunity allowed me to actually sit with that, to look at my vision and say, oh, I've always wanted to creatively, improve myself in this way. What courses exist? What LinkedIn courses have I always wanted to do, but never really felt like I had the time because I needed to focus on my job at the time. So a career break, I feel, is a great opportunity for you to really upskill yourself and to be intentional about that. There's so many free courses online. LinkedIn is an incredible resource for all types of courses, and I know that there are some courses that are available to people even if you do not have premium LinkedIn. YouTube is an incredible resource. There's all kinds of free content. It's a matter of doing a quick Google search and you'll be surprised what you find. So I know that a lot of these courses can be costly, but there's so many free courses, and I'll really try in the description box to share the ones that I'm familiar with that might be helpful to someone else. The second thing that a career break has been amazing for has been to pivot. And by pivot, I actually put a description of what pivot means here. But it's an opportunity for you to shift gears, man, to focus on something else, to prepare yourself for a bigger role, to prepare yourself for more responsibility, to be visible, but also to sit still and evaluate whether you're happy with your career path and what you may need to change. Whether that means you need to get mentorship, whether that means you need to seek counsel, whether that means you actually need to take a completely 360 and change careers altogether. I find sometimes in moments of stillness, you get the opportunity and the clarity, to think about, oh, this is actually what I want to do next. So it's an incredible opportunity for you to pivot, but you need to be present for that. I think if you take a break, or you are in between seasons and you don't utilize that in between season correctly, you might miss that opportunity. So that's incredibly important, to be present for it. The third thing that has been really consistent throughout my career, and my career journey video touches on this as well, is to network. I believe in the power of networks. Every single job, every single role that I've ever gotten has been owed to networks. It has been owed to me reaching out, to me putting in the time, investing in those relationships, collaborating with people when it made sense to do so, instead of duplicating efforts. It has really allowed me to grow as a person, as an individual personally. So I believe in networks, but man, the power of networking when you have the time for it too, when you have far more time for it. And this particular research project that I'm doing, and the host that I've chosen to do it with, the German Africa Foundation, shameless plug, please do go check them out. I'll leave a link in the description box. They do amazing work, all things German African relations. Anyway, the host that I picked was really aligned with this vision to say, I want to be visible. I also want to know the people in the sector globally, to know the people in the sector in this particular region who are doing the work, who are the decision makers, who are the key role players, who makes sense to continue to work with in order to expand my work, but also to understand this giant system that is development, right? Sometimes a network is valuable not necessarily to collaborate with, but to learn something from. Maybe there's even mentors or future relationships that could turn into mentorship relationships in the future. that I might meet along the way, and I definitely have. So career breaks are an amazing opportunity to network. I know that some people struggle with networking. If you feel like, networking is associated with people who are a little bit more extroverted or people who are a little bit more outspoken, and that is not true. I think in this digital age, a simple email, drop somebody a DM on Instagram, it goes such a long way, and you'd be surprised how many people are accessible, how many people are willing to share information, and how many people are willing to also extend their time in that way. So beyond the email exchange, there are a lot of people who are willing to even have conversations, ongoing conversations, and obviously maybe in the future that may turn into a little bit more structured relationship where you have a mentor. But outside of mentoring, I think networking is at the core. And that is something that I think a lot of people underestimate. So if you're in between seasons, it's a perfect opportunity for you to sit with that. Dedicate time for it. It doesn't have to be every day, but for you to constantly remind yourself that, man, who's doing the work? Who could be helpful and resourceful? And who can I learn from? So that is another thing that I would really highly encourage people to do more of. Lastly, I found that this particular career break moment in between seasons has been incredibly important for me to be able to leave my comfort zone. Of course, I intentionally made that decision. I had a very comfortable job before, and hopefully I'll have another comfortable job after this season. But I intentionally made a decision to say I want to grow it and learn different skills, and I want to do it differently and contribute to the sector differently. And I knew that going back to research of this nature would stretch me and challenge me. I didn't know how challenging it was going to be. At times it has felt quite challenging, to be honest. But I have also been really grateful for it because I've learned and discovered so much about my personality and the type of leader I want to be, the type of work I want to do. And it has also reaffirmed that I'm in the right sector, doing exactly what I want to do, and in many ways also sharpened the way that I want to do it. So I think being forced maybe to leave a comfort zone is important, and when you have the opportunity to intentionally do that, I think you can only benefit from it. So if you are in between seasons, I think tap into something else, try a new skill, maybe go back to a vision board from 3 years ago and look and see, what did I leave out? What are the things that I actually still want to do, that I've maybe abandoned, that I'm maybe terrified to do because I'm so comfortable with where I'm at. As the cliche goes, nothing grows in the comfort zone, and it couldn't be more true. So those are things I've taken away from my so-called career break. I'd love to hear what you think. If you've ever had a similar season, was it valuable? Was it scary? Is there anything that you'd like to share with anyone else watching? I'd really love your inputs. And maybe, as I mentioned in the beginning, it might be valuable to see if on YouTube there are other content creators who touch on seasons where you really are desperate for employment and what you then need to do to prepare for a role, to prepare for employment. What tips you need to bear in mind when you're looking for employment after maybe a really discouraging couple of months, years, weeks of not meeting or finding a job. So I think there are content creators who can do justice to that type of content. And I also don't want to speak to a season that I'm also not in, and something that I think wouldn't do justice to. If I can think of any content creators that might be valuable here or might give insight, I'll share that with you. I hope this video has been helpful. Please connect with me. I've seen a lot of emails already concerning the German Chancellor Fellowship, and that is really great. If there's any other information you'd like to know about all things career, all things relocating for your career or with your career in mind, shout, hit a girl up, send me an email. I'd love to connect. And that's it from me for now. Catch you next time.